right, let's talk about Bass Pro and Cabela's. Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. I know I've been doing that for over 20 years as an incredible partner, Bass Pro and Cabela's, and not to mention a vacation destination. If you have never been to one of these Bass Pro and Cabela's, load up the family. Make it a trip. I'm telling you, between the aquariums and all the fun stuff they have there, not to mention the top gear on the planet, Bass Pro and Cabela's, get your family outfitted with the right gear with premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Redhead, Natural Reflections. They got it all. They got all the apparel and gear to make it your best adventure ever. So stop by today to one of their kind shopping experience stores, or you can also shop online. I've done it a lot, more than I'd like to admit. BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. All right, adventurers, whether you're camping, fishing, hunting, or just enjoying the great outdoors, you need to get that gear that can keep up. That's why we choose and trust Grizzly. It's built tough for every adventure with unmatched durability and performance. Their products are perfect for your next trip into the wild. Plus, they're made in the USA and they come with a lifetime warranty. So why would you settle for anything less? I got to tell you, I have been using Grizzly products for years. I have the original cooler, still ticking today, and they have just moved into the hunting blind market. And I got to tell you, that is the most fantastic hunting blind I have ever seen. I'm very excited to use that this fall. From drinkware to bags, you name it, Grizzly has it all. They're an amazing brand, and they support the outdoorsman. More importantly, they are built to last. So check out grizzlycoolers.com. That's grizzlycoolers.com's Forge Your Own Trail. If you're looking to elevate your outdoor adventures, you've got to check out Mountain Ops supplements. Whether you're hiking, hunting, or hitting the gym, Mountain Ops has you covered with top-notch performance-driven products. Their supplements are designed to enhance your endurance, strength, and recovery, keeping you at peak no matter the challenge. Personally, I've got to tell you that my favorite is Ignite. Every single morning I start out with Ignite. It's an energy, it's a focus. It's definitely my go-to. I also love their ammo protein for lunch, especially in the to-go packs. Guys, I've been with them literally since the beginning, and I got to tell you, I would not choose any other supplement. So why wait? Head on over to mountainops.com. That's MTNOPS.com, Mountain Ops, and use the code KEEFER, KEEFER, for 20% off your order. That's Mountain Ops. Conquer more.
Here's to my neighbors and my friends from high school. Here's to the small towns, all American just like you. Here's to my family, to the place I was born and raised. We're living the good life, baby. Is there any other way? Here it is now. Hey, it's all right. Here's to the
Ooze getting every time.
The ooze do it. All right, welcome everybody to the BeAlive Podcast. This is the very first episode. I have got a very special guest, a friend with me. When I was sitting down, I was talking to everybody about who could I bring on that I could just have a comfortable conversation with, and we can learn how to do this podcasting thing. The first name that came to mind was my guest, my friend, Mr. Brandon Calhoun.
Well, hello, everybody.
What's
and
up,
it's
buddy?
It's good to be back,
Oh,
my friend. I'm telling you.
it is, isn't it?
It's been way too long, my friend. It has. Yeah.
It's great to see you, man. I mean, gosh, we've had so many stories we're going to get into today, but it's just good to have you back in studio, and we'll get into that a little bit, I think, today. But first and foremost, we're not going to start this unless we have a little nip. I mean, that's been a tradition for a long time, so if you're good with it, we're going to have a little nip. We're going to just get comfortable.
I do believe it's noon.
Yeah, somewhere.
I mean, that's kind of my nothing before noon.
Yeah.
After noon, we're good to go.
All right.
You going with that?
I'll pour a little zippy for us here, a little shot, and then we're going to have a beer. How's that?
Oh, my friend.
We're going to start off this thing.
This really is like old times.
This is just like old times. There's a little shot. We're going to have a A shot and a beer to get started, just so we can ease the tension and the pain,
Here,
right?
let's
That's
make
right.
this happen.
Cheers to you,
my
brother.
friend. Thank you for having me again. Episode 1.
Episode 1, Be Alive. It's time to be alive, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Hey-o. All right. So we're going to start this thing out. I got a little bush latte for you. Got some Two-Hearted. I called you and I'm like, hey, what do you like? You're like, Two-Hearted. Done.
Well, that's funny because I said, should we do bourbon or beer? And of course, I knew you were going to have both.
Yes. As soon as you said bourbon or beer, I said, no, I'll get
Oh,
both.
yeah, thank you for that.
I'll get both.
Thank you for reading between the lines there.
Yeah, exactly. So cheers, everybody. The first episode of BeAlive Podcast. We got some bush lattes going, and we're going to get into this thing. Brandon, how the hell have you been?
You know what? I've been, well, you know this, all over the place. It never stops, from Nashville to Detroit to Midland to Beaverton. Just, sometimes I feel like I'm just gathering information for songwriting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
The hard times, the low times. And so I've been good. I feel like I'm at that point in my life now. I did hit 50 this year.
Oh, man. Congratulations
Big
for making it to
50.
50, by the way. You don't look a day over 50.
Here's to that. A day over 50. Well, I appreciate that. That's a hell of a compliment.
I was waiting to see how long it was going to take to click in, and then it clicked
Yeah.
in. So.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, being 50 now, I still am lucky enough to have dark hair.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of grays up there.
Yeah.
But this thing's about as white as a freaking ghost.
just
So I have to clean it up now to show my skin.
Yeah, but you're not doing like the Just for Men any. You're not going to rock that out anymore. Every now and then you throw it in
Yeah,
there.
that's probably going to start
just-
happening.
just keeping it dark.
Yeah,
Keeping
just
it dark.
just a touch of gray is what I call it. Yeah.
I love it. All right, man. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Brandon has been a singer-songwriter his entire life. You've got stories of being on the road, and you've got a really unique experience that I want to kind of take our listeners through, because I'm fortunate enough to be there for a part of it, but boy, you've got an incredible story leading up to it. And I think it's worth talking about today because you've got life lessons. And I think at Be Alive, a lot of what we do is about moments matter, right? That's one of the things we always say is moments matter. But someone once just asked me, how do you describe Be Alive? And the best thing that we could come up with was it's an energy. Like Be Alive is an energy. It's palpable. You can feel it. And when I see you on stage, or I see you playing, whether it's sitting in that chair or up on the stage that I've seen you on opening for giant acts and playing your own shows, it's an energy that you get. And so I feel like music is your Be Alive, and it's such an amazing art form that people tie their lives to, right?
They do. I think music is such a. It's always been a love-hate and the angel and the devil sitting on your shoulder, because the hardest thing about being a musician or writing songs is pleasing people.
Yeah.
And music is so subjective. And when I was a kid growing up, the reason why I wanted to play guitar was because of Angus Young.
Okay.
And I wanted to just rock and sing, and you know, the vision you have in yourself on stage is like sweat and hair and big band stuff, and you know, just being a rock star.
Yeah.
And then the older you get, just like Kid Rock did the same thing.
Yeah.
Now he writes Born Free, where he was doing Ball to the Ball, back in the day.
I've jammed to that one before.
And you get to this point in your life, and it's such an interesting challenge to go from this to almost like, well, you guys in your field would call it rebranding.
Yeah.
I've rebranded myself so many times now that it gets almost a little confusing, like, who the hell are you here as an artist anymore? But today it's like, I'm so thankful to have all those experiences, because I went from the blues scene to the 80s cover band to, moving to Detroit, then LA, getting on a TV show, cameras on you, first time in your life. It's it's mind blowing. And then when you do all these things and you go to, and then you move to Nashville and have that experiences, and you really see what songwriting is about.
Yeah.
It changes your perspective on the way you flow with a song, the way you sing a song, where before it was guitar driven, now it's all story driven.
Yeah.
And it's
Incredible journey.
Incredible journey, yeah.
Well, you mentioned when you were as a kid, like Angus Young, AC/DC, right?
Yeah.
Going out there and playing when you were a kid. You grew up going back in time before, this is going to be pre-music, Brandon.
Yeah.
There's also an athletic Brandon in there. So, I mean, you grew up here in Michigan, Beaverton, Michigan.
Yep.
You were a basketball player. You were an all-state. You were a high school, like, all-star.
Yep.
And that was a passion of yours for a long time, right? And how did that kind of come about? Where did you start in sports?
Sports was the first thing, obviously. My dad got me into Little League baseball. And then I became very competitive. My dad was very, very hard sports guy too. So he would coach my Little League. He would be my coach for 8th grade basketball. And he was very much integral into my growth as an athlete. And all I wanted to do back then was be an athlete. Yeah. But the funny thing is like, and I don't know where it happened, where music became such a love of mine, and maybe it was through my father, but I had older cousins, you know, the Tanners, and they were all music people, and I would find myself at their house, and music was such a big part of their lives, and listening to that, and I always wanted to be cool like my cousin, because he was also, but he was more on the music side, so that, like, it was almost like when I'm hanging with the Tanners, it was all about music. When I was hanging at home, I knew it was like, it's ball time. It's ball time. And there was a separation there. But also, my dad loved music, my mom loved music, and so growing up with the Bob Segers and what they would listen to and as a kid. And it's strange how it was almost as if soon as high school was over for me, there was a change.
Okay.
Basketball was over. I knew I didn't want to play college ball.
Yep.
I knew I just wanted to somehow get into this music industry. But how do you get into that in Beaverton? I didn't know.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that's a part of your life that I don't really know a lot about, is you transition from, I mean, I've seen all the highlight reels, I've seen all the stuff from basketball, and then the next thing I know, I see you on Rockstar, which we'll talk about in just a second, but there's got to be a whole transition there. When's the first time, I would assume you're going to pick up a guitar and you play it, but when's the first time that you belt something and you go, hold on a second, I got a voice here too? Like when is that happening?
It just hit me. The first time was playing at Pep Assembly in 1991.
Okay, so you were at
high school. Yeah. I had done a Pep Assembly the year before. And they were doing a Pep Assembly, Feliz Navidad for Christmas. So the Spanish club was doing Feliz Navidad, and they asked me to play the guitar. Okay. And so that was the first time actually being on a stage in any capacity.
So your first time is Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Acoustically.
It's just strumming. Feliz Navidad.
That is an incredible situation.
Yeah. And then the next year, let's step it up a notch, and we were doing Homecoming. Yeah. And they needed a band to come out and play a couple of tunes in support of Homecoming. We're going to bring the football team out. You know, we're playing, I don't even remember who we were playing, but so me and my Spanish teacher / English teacher put together a little 3-piece band, and we would rehearse, and we did Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue. Yep. And we did AC/DC Thunderstruck, right? So we rehearsed these.
Right for Thunderstruck.
Yeah, 1991. I think that song had just come out. And and I think Tommy Blades, our buddy, was supposed to sing.
Is that his real name?
Tommy Blades. Yeah. Tommy Blades was supposed to sing, and he got cold feet, terrified of actually being on stage and singing in front of the school.
Yeah, of course.
We're all jocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a basketball person. He was a football guy, and he just couldn't get up there and sing. So just before the gig, who's going to sing? Who's going to sing Home Sweet Home? And I said, well, I'll do. And I just remember going into rehearsal one day, turning my back, because I couldn't even sing in front of my band.
Okay, so you couldn't even.
Yeah. I just would look away, and they're like, "You're really good, you know. You can sing okay, you know." And I'm just like, and as I'm singing, I'm like, "This doesn't sound terrible.
Like I'm good with this.
This is okay.
Yeah.
But how am I gonna have the nerve to do this? Yeah. You know." And anyways, come game time of the gig, and I just remember walking out of the locker room. The whole high school, from 9th to 12th grade, all sitting in front of you, and you're like, I'm about to sing my first song ever in front of all of them.
Wow.
And we still got the footage. I got to let you see it.
I got to see
hilarious.
That. That's incredible.
Because I remember I had to have my handkerchief hanging out the back pocket because Slash had that.
Yeah, of course.
And I had my guitar, and I got my hat on backwards, and I think I got a bandana around my head or whatever. Yeah. And I just pictured myself being like literally Guns N' Roses. And I went out there and closed my eyes, and I don't remember looking at the thing, and I just, I'm a dreamer, and I just started singing it.
And it came.
Girls afterwards came up to me, a couple girls. I remember Beth and Tanya came up to me crying.
They were really
crying. Oh, that was the greatest thing. And then pretty much that's.
Then you knew I had something.
Then I became a true alcoholic. No, just kidding.
Then you knew you had something that point.
It was really cool.
So at that point, so you start out. Those are, first of all, Motley Crue, AC/DC, starting out with those songs.
Yep.
I mean, talk about voices that are leading that. So you come out, you understand you can do it. But you have no idea how to control it yet. You don't know, you just know you can sing. You don't know what it means to sing or any of that stuff. So there's got to be a period where you went, I'm going to lean into this. And is that college?
I swear to you, I went and worked construction after high school. I went to Western, then I worked, that didn't last. I went and worked construction. And there was just a lot of periods in my life of lulls, of I wouldn't say lows.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get a band together. I've never done this on my own before.
Yeah.
And so it took me probably meeting Jason Brown and his family, and I started dating his sister, Jill.
Yeah, Jill.
That I was around a guy that was interested in guitar playing and writing.
Okay.
So this was years later.
Yeah.
And I remember we sat down, and as far as songwriting goes, that started developing okay, we'll throw these words in. And I think Jason wrote the first couple of songs I ever wrote.
Wow.
A lot of that.
That's great. I don't know how I didn't know about that either. I mean,
that was early,
Jason
young.
and I, and being business partners for so long, and friends, and you, and I didn't realize he wrote the first couple that you're actually singing. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think one of the first songs I ever sang was Leaving Home.
Leaving Home.
Brownie wrote the whole thing.
Really?
JB wrote the whole song. And I would and then I would get with Lance, and then we would go and we would do little places have you been to Limberlost and Houghton?
Oh yeah.
My first bar gig, 21 years old.
Okay.
So in that moment, it's from high school to 21, when I first played my first bar gig, was just working and
playing. For fun.
Not really even playing. I mean, I wasn't striving to go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah, it was a hobby at that point.
Hobby, having fun whenever I could. But once I got into that band, then I went back to college, started playing a little bit in college.
Yeah.
Then, to just move forward quickly here, I went to college with JB and Jill, and then we graduated. I moved down to Detroit, and when I moved down to Detroit, I'm still just working.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing gigs.
Yeah.
Then I got into an 80s cover band. Okay. That changed everything.
Okay.
Because it happened to be in my office, two guys were in an 80s cover band called Frank and the Jet Skis. And they would just happen to Frank and the Jet Skis.
Frank and the Jet Skis.
Yeah. You know why
why is it called Frank and the Jet Skis?
It's called Frank and the Jet Skis because they knew a guy that embezzled money from their company.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was Frank.
Yeah.
And he went out, embezzled it to pay for his jet skis that he bought.
So they named a band after him.
Frank and the Jet Skis.
My first band name, Frank and the Jet Skis.
Yeah.
What a fantastic name for an 80s cover band.
80s cover band.
Okay.
Frank and it fits, right?
Yeah,
it
it totally
feels
does.
good.
Frank and the Jet Skis.
And that's when, so all this time in between, from high school to, I'm not singing.
Yeah.
I forget that I have a voice. I'm just,
yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm in this 80s cover band learning all these songs that I wouldn't have ever thought I would ever sing, from The Cure to Bon Jovi. And some of those songs have range, so you have to really belt. So I worked on that a lot. And back then, I wasn't playing guitar with the band. Okay. I was just front man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Front man for Frank and the Jet Skis.
Frank and the Jet Skis. That changed a lot, because then I realized what popular music was too.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I was anti-popular music when I was growing up. I was a blues guy.
Yeah.
I want to hear Stevie Ray Vaughan. I want to hear all that under soul stuff.
Yeah, soul.
And so anyways, that changed the game for me, because next thing you know, I'm singing in front of girls that are singing back to me. I'd never experienced stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where, you're playing to people that are dancing and you're like, wow, this is really fun. I had no idea I would like this.
Yeah.
And I love this.
Yeah.
And then when that bit me, I finally kind of went out and bought my first PA.
Okay.
And that led into learning those cover songs that I would do at the 80s cover band. I would start playing on my own at little bar gigs.
Okay, so that's where you started learning the guitar.
That's when I started learning to play cover songs and start singing, in bars and doing it on my own now.
That's incredible. Incredible journey from again, you're finding it. So it's like, you've got this BeAlive in you that's you're finding, but you don't know it's there yet, right?
You don't know what it's there.
You're kind of going through this process, and you like it, but you're not real sure about it, and then it starts to like creep in, right? Like more and more and more.
I let it in.
Yeah,
you gotta let it in.
You have to let it in, right?
Like did I want to go to Detroit and work in the staffing industry and put on a suit and tie after years of not having to do that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But then when you realize and you do it, you're like, oh, I didn't realize this about me.
Yeah.
That's about being alive too, right? I mean, you're like discovering these things that you actually like, that you were trying to tell yourself you didn't like.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're opening and you're broadening, you're growing, you're doing 80s cover songs, and now you're, which leads me to, now I can do this.
Yeah.
And now I'm going out on my own. It's building your confidence.
Yeah, it's building your confidence up.
And it just, the game changer that happened for me musically, though, the biggest thing that happened was learning the songs, going out and playing gigs, and I went back to Central to play gigs because a friend of mine that knew JB, named Sean Urquhart, started booking bands at Central on campus, because he was younger than us, so he was still at campus. Come back and play at the cabin. Okay.
So you get back in front of that college crowd.
College crowd again. Now I know the 80s fun songs. Now I'm not just doing blues. And
Got it.
Next thing you know, he's moving to California when he graduates. And he thinks I'm great.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm great. I'm just a cover guy playing. Yeah. And he's like, you got to come with me. I'm going to be a model. I'm going to be an actor. You're going to be, and we're going to do this together. Yeah. And I needed someone I wasn't going to move out there by myself. I probably wouldn't have. He was such a launch pad for me. He was so exciting. Yeah. He was the definition of BeAlive at the time. Yeah. He is going to do this and had all these plans and didn't care. Let's just go. Yeah. He had a white Mustang we called White Lightning. We're going to get in this thing, drop the top down, and we're going to cruise, and which we did. It was probably one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And you're this BeAlive moment. Yeah. Here you are. You've been in Detroit. You're just starting to learn these songs. You're growing and growing. And let's give our chance in California.
Yeah. Isn't that an exciting time when you lean into something like that? You don't know what the outcome's going to be. And you believe in it enough to do it, but at the same time, you don't know. And I guess it doesn't matter what the outcome is because you're in the moment, right?
In the moment, but here's the beauty. There's a fine line between having these hopes and dreams, but the term ignorance is bliss is one of the greatest terms in the world, and it doesn't get used enough. Ignorance is bliss. I had no idea. I had no idea about the music industry. Yeah. I don't know anything about the music industry. Yeah. I don't know that you're supposed to, you got to write this way to actually make it. You got to be a good businessman. I just thought, I just was going on, there's stories about these guys going to Nashville and they just get signed on the spot.
Yeah, just signed on the spot. I've been down that road before. Yeah,
that doesn't work. Yeah. Maybe it did in the 60s or 70s, but not my time.
To kind of equate it for me, I grew up watching these guys on TV that were hunting and fishing and doing all this stuff, and they were my heroes, right? Yeah. And I was told the same thing, it was ignorance was bliss. I thought that's just that. Seeing that person on television, I was like, look how much fun they're having. I didn't realize there's a whole business behind it. I didn't realize there was you had to really work hard to get there. I'm like, they got a great gig. Yeah. And as I got into the industry, I'm like, there's all this other shit that's in here too, right? You gotta, the same thing. Go to this show, you'll sign all your sponsors. Sure. That's not how it works. But I learned the hard way, right? You go there, and you get the door kicked in on you about 10 times, and you're like, wow. Yeah. And then you get this bug now. It's like, all right. I got to do it. No matter what, I got to
Yeah.
do it. I'm going to figure this out. And I
Right.
think that's probably what you did as well. I'm just like, I'm going to make this happen regardless. Like somehow, some way, you're starting to fall more in love with it, right?
Totally. And you meet people while you're there.
Yeah.
And then you start playing gigs. You know, I moved to Hermosa Beach, started meeting a lot of friends, started playing down there. And then another thing, see, to me, everything I did in a lot of ways was by chance.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
I wasn't knocking on producer's door.
Yeah.
I wasn't like making demos to like pitch to some big executive at Capitol Records or something.
Yeah.
I was just, everything was by chance.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine back home calls me and says, hey, there's this new show you should try out for it, Rockstar INXS. They're looking for a new lead singer.
Yeah.
And I had told myself, because I knew I wasn't going to be in LA for that long, I'm going to give myself 1 year
Yeah.
out here doing my thing. And if
Yeah.
nothing happens, I'll move home.
Yeah,
No big deal.
you're done.
I'm done. And I'll never forget that the audition was about 6 months into my time, maybe 8 months into my time in LA.
Yeah.
And things are going pretty good. I'm dating a pretty beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Everything's going good. My job's fine.
Yeah.
I'm playing on the weekends like a weekend warrior on the beach and stuff like that. And finally, I go on this audition at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Okay.
And I killed the audition.
Crush it.
I crushed it.
Yeah.
And plus, what do I have to lose? I'm going to the Whiskey A Go-Go to play on a stage where, some of my favorite musicians have played, from
Yeah.
the Doors and Zeppelin and all those guys. So it's like, hey, boom, there's a,
This is good.
knock that off.
Yeah.
Check that box. And anyways, time goes by, and they call me to be in the top 50. So I go into the top 50, and then let's just move forward. I get on the show. They tell me
Yeah.
to get on the show. I actually go and move into the mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, I think it was 2 days from my 1 year that I'm going to move away.
Yeah.
I was in the mansion like literally 2 days after the day I moved there.
So you give yourself a year, and 2 days prior to your goal, you're living in a mansion.
In the mansion.
On
So,
a TV show.
So technically I didn't make it, but I was on a TV show.
Yeah, but you were on a TV show.
Yeah.
So for those people that don't understand what Rockstar was the first version of basically American Idol and The Voice and all the things. Like, it was Rockstar, the NXS, the band. They're
Yep.
looking for the lead singer for their band, and they hold this kind of first reality series. Dave Navarro, and I want to get into some questions there. But first and foremost, I want you to check something out, because I pulled something for you.
Oh,
right here
no. Oh,
that I want you to
oh,
watch.
ooh, ah,
and
oh.
this is you. How about this right here?
Oh, man.
How about that hair, brother?
Yeah, hey, check out that ponytail
Look
there.
at that ponytail. Look at that. And those
Wow.
white kicks.
That song was probably a little out of my range.
So you came on again, and you actually did another. So we have another one where you did Chris Robinson, and you did the Black Crowes.
Oh, yeah.
And you were known on this show for performing barefoot.
Yeah.
And so is that your thing? Was that like when you were out there? Was that your thing? Did you feel like, hey, I'm always gonna, or was that a like conscious decision to go on Rockstar and say, I'm gonna be that guy that takes it off? Was that just one of your things you did?
I had read an article. I'm a big Skynyrd fan.
Yeah.
And I knew Ronnie Van Zant did that.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to feel the vibrations on his feet. He didn't wear cowboy boots. Ronnie Van Zant from Skynyrd did that.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be cool. When I look back at this it's crazy, because what they tell you the show's going to be about is not what the show is.
It's not what it is.
Meaning
It's production, right? It's just not.
We're looking for the new lead singer of INXS, and INXS doesn't know what they're going to do yet. They may go off and make this different kind of record or whatever. And that's why you have all these different personalities or whatever. But at the same time, so I wanted to keep my hippie Black Crowes. That's who I loved at the time. I wanted to keep that. I wasn't willing to kind of change that.
Here's this is you and Black Crowes.
See,
And the first time I ever heard you, I thought you were Chris Rock. Like that voice, now you crushed this one. And even Dave Navarro, I think here he says, look at that.
fun.
I mean, you get mesmerized by it.
Where did you find this
Does
footage?
that bring back memories or what?
It does. You know, and I honestly, I couldn't do this if I wasn't in the 80s cover band.
I was
See
just
what I
gonna
mean?
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Like, you had to learn the moves and all
Yeah.
the things and what you were doing from an 80s cover band. Obviously, Frank and the Jet Skis
Frank and the Jet Skis.
prepared you to be doing this right here.
Yeah. See, that's about the closest, that this footage right here is about the closest that I identified myself as at the time. I wanted to run around on that stage free as a bird and just sing
Just
and be
go.
a front man. I loved it. So much fun. And
So you've got NXS up there, the band. Then you also have Dave Navarro, who at the time was super hot. I mean, Dave Navarro was, he was dating Carmen Electra at that time. All the things that were happening. He calls it out right there and says, "Hey man, nice choice of shoes." And you're like, "Thanks." And you're wearing your bare feet, or you're just got your feet, which is I thought was fantastic, and that became your staple. Like,
it did.
And so as the course of the show comes on, I know Brooke Burke was the host of it. I mean, this thing was taking off and starting to gain a lot of steam. They were having watch parties in Beaverton. People were going nuts over it. And then you kind of became the dark horse there for a while. Like, you started sneaking in, creeping in, and all of a sudden people were like, "Damn, this guy can jam," right? I mean, you really did make a run there.
I really think at the front I was the front.
I thought so too.
Considered a front runner for sure.
Yeah.
I think when they realized that I wasn't budging much. To be in excess.
Yeah. That wouldn't have been your gig regardless. It just,
No.
I don't see that being your thing.
So I felt like you make a decision while you're on the show.
Yeah.
Am I going to modify myself to really be in this band?
Yeah.
Or do you say to yourself, "Look, I made my mark.
Yeah.
If I'm off, I'm off.
Yeah.
Now I can do." And this goes back to, now you think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But when you're off the show, you're off the show.
You're done. Yeah.
You think to yourself, "Well, any day,
Everybody's gonna call you.
somebody's gonna call me for a record deal here." Come on, you were on a TV show. It was really cool, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
And that harsh reality was tough.
Yeah.
And then so going from that show, the highs were unbelievable. The lows were pretty tough.
Yeah, they're hard.
And at that time too, me and my girlfriend broke up. We were, and so, I left California. I moved to Florida, of all places.
Oh, that's Florida Bama.
I went to the Florida Bama for about 6 months, and that's where it was almost the weirdest thing. It was almost like I completely forgot I lived in LA for 2.5 years, and I just went right into the Bama and started playing and started working on. Okay, that was then.
Yeah,
I'm already here. And so we're going to work on these tunes the way you want to do them.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know shit. I still don't know nothing.
You still don't know yet.
You're still just,
grasping the music industry. You've just been put through a reality show, one of the first of its kind. Like, you're coming off that high. You go to Florida. You start getting into I know the first song I've ever heard of you was one of, to this day, my favorite. We always said it would be my stripper song, which is Detroit City.
Oh my.
Detroit City. This one right here, this man living, look at that. I mean, that's one of the most iconic photos.
That's at the Russell Industrial Complex in Detroit, and it's all abandoned now.
There it is. And this song right here, Detroit City. The thing that actually, I heard this before I knew you. I heard this on Justified.
Oh, yeah.
I heard the song on Justified, and that's where you licensed this song to Justified, which I thought was really cool. And that gave it that exposure.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This one's up there too now. Like,
if I was still doing this stuff, I would have been playing last night at the draft. I'm serious. The Mugs were playing down there last night. All my buds. This song right here. But because I went more acoustic. You're kind of.
So you go through this period where Detroit City style, right? This style, you went from Detroit City, Common Ground, those records, they had this electric, they had this that rock sound to it.
Yep.
And you went there for a bit.
Think about it this way too. I don't have a sound because I haven't really put out a record. I just did the show.
Okay.
But I don't have a sound.
Because you're singing cover songs there. And really performing for NXS. And then now you're going to get into what is my sound, right?
Yep. And I'll tell you what, there's a moment, I don't think you know this, but I'll quickly just elaborate on this, but it's one of the most unbelievable moments of my entire life. And it was the moment of, you got to write songs.
Yeah.
And you got to take this serious.
God, I'm so glad you did that. One of the best songwriters I've ever in my life ran into.
So get this. Floribama.
Yep.
They're having a songwriter festival. I play it. Afterwards, they go out to Ono Island, which is in Alabama, and it's a really nice island. And there's this like millionaire has this ginormous party, and all these singer-songwriters are there from around the local area, and they're all singing songs.
Yeah.
And I'm still known. They see me on TV.
Yeah.
So I mean, but
you got a little clout there.
I got a little clout still.
Yeah.
And I remember going into a back room, and there's songwriters in this room and songwriters over here. I go into this room and says, yo, we got to have Brandon sing a song. And I started singing a song, If the Angels Don't Want Me, right? Mm-hmm. But super raspy voice, probably drank a little too much.
Yeah.
And they're all singing storyteller songs, which I have now.
Yeah.
But back then, I just had those real emotional songs. Like I'm not a professional songwriter.
Yeah.
And I remember closing my eyes and singing this song with everything that I have. And at the end, I mean, it's blaring, and I'm singing, if the angels don't want me, and I'm kind of screaming and yelling. I opened my eyes. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
They all fucking left the room. They was like, they left.
They left?
I opened my eyes, and nobody was in the room.
Fuck out of here.
It was the most embarrassing, like, these guys just looked at me like, this fucking guy's out of his mind.
So they they just got up, they left. They're like, no.
15 people in the room, at least. And like we kind of
But
went
you're
off.
in it, so you're here.
I'm saying the whole goddamn song. I don't even know if I can swear, but I just did.
It's not a problem.
I didn't hear them leave.
No, because you're singing.
So,
you're in
singing.
the moment. You're ready. You're killing
They walked
it.
out, and I remember walking out of that bedroom like, did somebody come in with a gun and shoot somebody? And they all had to call 911 and left. No, it was. That's how bad. Like that's when I knew I'm off. Like you got to start really writing tunes that like people like. There's a difference.
So so you leave? How's hors d'oeuvres after that? Like you just look.
I don't remember.
Just looking at everybody like so.
No,
no one wanted to stick around, or
I don't know what I did. I probably just fell asleep on the couch.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's incredible, man. Those tunes back in with Detroit City, and then you go into kind of Common Ground.
But
and
again,
all that.
and I was going to elaborate.
Yeah.
Those songs,
They didn't exist.
I
yet.
wrote them. This is in Detroit now. Get
Yeah.
picked up. They want to do, but they're all rock guys.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually go into more of an acoustic Black Crowes or kind of feel, but I didn't have a lot of takers to make the record.
Yeah.
So it became heavier than I thought.
Yeah.
It became more, the way I wrote it is different.
Yeah.
In a way. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, sure. You had to
So
conform.
that goes to show you, I didn't know what my sound was. They gave me my sound, and it became that, which I am totally happy with. I thought it was great. It opened a ton of doors for me.
That's crazy.
But at the same time, I didn't pick that tone and that drum sound and that vibe. I wrote the song,
Yeah.
but I had a lighter groove to it. And what I mean is I'm still not in control of my music.
Yeah, you're still not there yet.
I'm still not in control. I'm still just figuring it out. And okay, this was cool. This was step one. I just recorded a record. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But now you're living up to that record that isn't quite still you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're still writing the songs, and now we do another one that's a little more lighthearted, which is Satisfied. And now I have a little bit more control there because, I paid for it myself.
Yeah.
But it's weird how that works. You're still,
You want to conform to what you already put out, but you're not fully you yet.
no.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's the weirdest thing.
Do you think that's a common path in music with a lot of artists? Like in the beginning, like do you think
yeah.
that's probably the way that it happens? Like people are
yeah.
like conforming to what the record company wants, to what this happens, and then all of a sudden, like they just say, "Fuck it!" Like I'm just gonna do my own thing.
You're just happy to be recording music to say you're an artist. I just did this. I
I'm
just
doing
did this record. At the time it was awesome, but at the same time it was like this is my sound now. I got to live up to this.
Now I got to go wail.
And
every
now
single
you're
night.
thinking to yourself, my God, that's not what I wanted my sound to be. So but thankful at the same time. And then, but still growing, you're evolving. These moments matter because that leads me to wanting to do this next record.
Yeah.
You know,
it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of takes us to this is the kind of, for me, Satisfied's out. And again, like I'm doing my thing. I meet a common friend of ours, Jason, and we're starting to build business and we're starting to think through it. And this is like, now we're fast forward all the way to 2010. Like, you've been doing your thing, you're putting out records. And Jason says, I come to the studio one night and we're thinking about this show that we were going to do, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to do it in the hunting space. And he goes, I got a buddy of mine, Brandon Calhoun, that he's coming down to the studio. I don't know if you remember this or not, but he said he's coming down. He's in Beaverton. He's going to come to the studio. This is when we had the studio out in Sanford.
Yeah.
So that old studio out in Sanford. And I'm like, I know that guy. I'm like, I watched him on Rockstar. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I love that guy. So you come in that night, you got the monkey haircut you had, like you had like that crazy haircut going on. You had like hippie pants, like the corduroys.
Sure.
You rolled in and I'm like, he is exactly like I expected him to.
Gene on Gene.
Yeah, baby. You were Gene on Gene. You were killing it, man. And you rolled in and we were trying to figure out how to do original music in the hunting space. And it's like, it didn't exist in our space. And he's like, I got the guy that can do it. And I remember sitting in that little tiny room and we started to write and you started to sing and you started to write, and then just that process. And one of the most popular songs we have ever put out together, or that became our staple for years, was Red Sun.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Red Sun came out of that entire like session that we were in. Like, Red Sun became the theme song for Backcountry Quest. It became the theme song for all these other things that we did. And we had, here it is right here.
Oh,
Yeah. You got to listen to this for a second.
This riff.
If you've not heard Red Sun, it's only 2 minutes long because it was built for TV. But it's fantastic.
My boy Chad on that harp.
Yeah, on the harp when we recorded it. We envisioned all the shots before we wrote it.
Red sun is on rising. Mama say it's a new day, son.
You can't go wrong with a head nodder.
No, it's just like you
Headbanger.
want to like do it, and we shot it and we wrote it like together. You wrote the lyrics, but we were telling you like the things. We were telling you like a sunset. We were talking about what matters to us, and you were just like, and all of a sudden it was like Red Sun, and you start going like that process was incredible to watch.
I think we were both all throwing
Yeah.
in lyrics.
Oh yeah, we were just throwing stuff at the wall.
And it just kind of fit that. But yeah, it's yeah, I'll never forget that day. And I actually forgot it became the theme song.
It did.
And then we went out to Vegas. Didn't you guys win an award?
Yeah, we won an award. We got a trophy. We got some wall hanger somewhere, some boat anchor somewhere that says, best original music in it, because it was no one even had original music. I think they had to create the category for us. Like, they literally it's the first time this has ever happened. But there were people singing Red Sun. Like, we'd go to the Harrisburg sporting show and they would sing Red Sun. Like, they would literally be sitting there. You'd walk by people and be like, Red Sun is a ride, and like going by, and I'm like, wow, and that was just like a microcosm of like what you had dealt with on all this other stuff. But I think for me, one of the most powerful things to watch was the process of a song coming together. Mm-hmm. And that was like those 4 guys sitting in there drinking at the time like Fireball or maybe some other stuff, and we were sipping and we were just yelling things.
Yeah.
And you had a guitar, and it was
the
like,
best.
you found a strum, and then we yelled this, and then you were like, like that. And then, Wind Cries Voodoo Child. Doesn't even mean anything.
Who came
I
up
don't
with that
know what
line?
that means, but it was like Wind Cries Voodoo Child. And I was like, love that. And everyone's like, yeah. And it went. So I guess when you are in that zone, like I experienced it one other time that I want to talk through with you, but this, when you're normally doing it for you, are you hearing lyrics? Are you hearing melody? Because you've written some incredible songs. Like, how does it come? Is it come through like you hear something and it taps, and then you write the lyrics? Like, what's your process through that?
First of all, that process that we had right there.
Yeah.
I just wish popular music was on that.
Yeah.
Because to me that's the funnest way to write. It's so collaborative and it's so much fun, and there's so much energy into a room. And then you release it and you don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Like when you just said "Wind Cries Voodoo Child," right? I mean, if you were actually going to put that out and you're trying to be professional, I don't know that nobody's going to understand what that means.
Knows what that means.
Who cares what it means? I
still don't know what it means.
It means something different to you than it does me. I'm sure you think of something. Of course, I think of Jimi Hendrix,
yes,
Voodoo Child.
I think that you wrote that lyric as the Voodoo Child, and the wind was crying because we were talking about the wind and how we have to face the wind in these situations, and it blows hunts and all that. And you were like, and then you just said, "Wind cries voodoo," and I'm like, "Voodoo Child works for me." Like that was a cool line.
Though that is the best, and unfortunately, that's not how music business works. Of course, I mean it. Unless you're going to license it.
Yeah, unless you're going to do it.
But for me, as far as writing songs, the older I get, the more meaningful things are.
Yeah.
And the more stories. I'm finding myself writing about home and Beaverton and my parents. And a lot of those times, I just have to be, what's that phrase? 3 chords and the truth.
Yeah.
And now if I can just strum something, and I get so sick of people always going, well, that sounds like this. Yeah. So you can't do this because it sounds like that. Or, no, everything's been done. Let's stop the whole sound. It's going to sound like something else. But your reflection and your, whatever melody you come up for the chorus makes it original. And your story is original. So, but those are the games I play with myself. So for me, it is always about a chord and a feel and closing your eyes and just what is the story about, and then I write to it.
Yeah.
My biggest problem.
Yeah.
Closing myself off into a little corner down in the dark area where nobody can hear the song.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let anybody in on this. And it's BS.
Yeah.
Because this song is going to take me a year to write or 6 months, when if I was to open it up to people and let them in, okay, we're getting this done and we're moving on to the next song. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that personal. It doesn't have to be that, you don't have to.
Yeah, that's tough though, I can imagine. Well, it's the complete opposite. The day that we did Red Sun, we recorded it on an iPhone, and I listened to it on the way home at an hour drive. I listened to it on the way home over and over again. We wrote it that night. I think
didn't we record it the next day?
Yeah, we recorded it literally, and that was it. And it was we didn't really make a lot of changes. You worked on the strumming and the parts like throughout the next day or so, and we recorded it, and it was like, there's our song, Red Sun. Yep. And then that leads us into like the era. Like we had an era together that was like, God, was it fun?
I want to go back and do it all over.
We had an era, the Calhoun Sessions era, where when we realized that we could write original music, I say we, I didn't write anything, that you and Casey and the crew you guys were building this stuff out. When we realized that we could make it fit for those shows, and then Drop came along and we started writing together on that, and some of these things started coming out, and people resonated so much with the music. So we were kind of doing 2 things. We were changing the game in outdoor television together, but we were also changing the game in how music was done in outdoor television.
That's so cool.
At the same time.
That's so cool.
To this day, now when you go to lyrical stuff, there wasn't one lyric ever sang in an outdoor show. And I'll say that, and people are going to write me and saying that's bullshit. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. Because if it was a lyric, it was a shitty lyric. I can tell you that right now. So it wasn't until we did that with Red Sun and then on to Dropped in the Calhoun Sessions, but it became so popular that we had to go record the Calhoun Sessions down in Detroit at Plymouth, and because we had to put it out, because we just have people just kept coming and saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. We're like, I guess.
You remember what we did? Do you remember going to the Sanford studio again?
Yeah.
And all of us.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. I had Rusty come.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're coming up with stuff.
This is
1,000 beers.
This is look at it. First of all, that's Jason Brown with a dark beard. Looks like he put Just for Men in right there. He's gonna. Oh, there he is.
Who's this guy?
Here, my friend, is a song that we all came up with.
So this will be on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it. This is the behind the music. of us recording in
My gosh, I
Plymouth.
watched this.
So long.
Love this song.
This was in episode 8,
Oh, come on.
right?
Heart made of stone,
This was good, dude.
trapped inside this prison. Where does
There's
time?
a few LBs on me with no beard.
I've been searching so long.
So now,
I've been singing the same old song.
there's Rusty.
So
So
That's- yeah.
that little he's picking and doing his thing. So we have this thing. Same thing happened though. We're telling you about the experience, and you're closing your eyes and you're writing. And to me, I was enthralled with that process because we're there. And I tell you about the Yukon, and we're talking about like all this other stuff, and we're working on another song. Do you remember going in to the room, and 20 minutes later, like literally 20 minutes later, you came out with Weatherman? Do you remember that?
Well, I do remember this very vividly because that night that we all partied and were writing the tunes,
Yeah.
you guys had something going on the next day, and
Yeah.
me and Russ
Yeah.
got together in Gladwin and just started writing little notes.
I don't know about that cover. Look at all the things.
It's a beautiful cover.
This goes back to this is, you want to talk about brand and you didn't know your brand yet? That's all of our brands that we like in one. It says Dropped. It has BeAlive on. BeAlive wasn't even BeAlive. It's two separate words.
Oh my gosh.
BeAlive was just a mantra at the time that we loved.
Oh, that's so
It
cool.
wasn't a business. It wasn't what it is today. And so you talk about the same thing. You didn't know what you were doing. Neither did we.
Yeah.
It's like we were just every time everything was leading to the next step. I mean, it's like you just whatever opportunity door opened, we just went to the next door. And that's a funny picture right there because those are the two things that really took off, and it took off at this time with you singing music. So reality, that's a pretty insane photo with all that different stuff.
That
on it.
is amazing. And I'll tell you
Minus
what,
that idiot in the with
this
Hold the
song
Bone.
is just beautiful.
It's one of my favorites of all time.
And you know what's one of my favorites, and this is what I love about music is back at the time, because I actually didn't write it.
Yeah.
Your brother wrote it.
I didn't even know that.
Not this.
I was going to say no. He wrote Soul Survivor.
No,
Or
he wrote
Stone Cold.
oh jeez.
It's something Survivor, but it's not Soul Survivor. It's the other
Isn't
one.
it weird you can't think of a song when a song's playing in your head?
I know. And I got this one. Stone Cold. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it's one of the best songs on there.
He's an incredible writer.
I will be, or I will bleed.
I will bleed. There you go. I will bleed. Yeah, it was incredible.
I look back on all those songs, and they're all amazing. And I wish, oh geez, I don't know. I just wish there was more people could get their ears on it.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
'Cause
There's
it's so good.
There's so many amazing songs. So back to what that night you were with. You were with Rusty.
Yeah.
You're just writing stuff. Is that
Writing stuff. And then the next morning, you got to keep in mind now, we were all drinking on the beers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I remember Rust and I stayed at his place in Gladwin, and we had 50 IPAs, and we had to be at that studio in Detroit by 10.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's why sometimes when you show me that last footage, it's just like we're all like,
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But
we were loving it though.
the music
Yeah.
called for it.
Yeah.
The music needed us to be weathered, man.
Yeah.
We needed to be weathered to give that some realness.
Yeah.
Which we all. But wow, how that turned out. It's just
man.
Magic.
There was a session. This is I Will Bleed. This is that one you were talking about. It is again. It's like Casey. I remember he wrote this and he said, "What do you think?" And you were like, "Wait, what?"
It blew my mind.
Yeah. He's an incredible writer.
I turned to stone.
It's literally my reality right now.
I Will Bleed.
All alone, all the time. I will turn to stone.
Oh, come on, man.
What is that?
Feel that all
If you
the
guys
way
haven't
down
heard the
in.
Calhoun sessions and you just want to get in a car and you want to drive and just turn it on, like for me in the morning sometimes, like I'll just listen to like a weathered man with a sunset. I'm going hunting, turkey hunting. I'll just go out, whatever.
Oh.
I'm on my way to the gym. I just want to chill. You can immerse yourself in this in the background. It just is playing and there's just not a bad song on it. And I know I'm jaded, but man, that was
No,
just some fun times.
you're right. They're all, and they all give you the feels, and they're all real, and it's honest, and it's that storytelling that, you know, when you go to sleep at night, you could literally just put that on, and nothing's gonna like alert you and wake you up in the middle. It's just all like that feel where you can just, you know, it's in the soul. It's right down in, and you know, the first thing I thought of when we talk about music, and so this was a part, and obviously led to me going back to Nashville and doing another record and doing all kinds of stuff. But it is funny. I am now trying. So what year did that come out? 2017.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere right there.
I am
16.
now at 50 years old.
Yeah.
I am now going. I had that was
Back
it.
to that.
So that with modifications.
Yeah, of course.
That was it. That was as close to my voice that I think is the most natural, pure form of it, where I'm not trying to shout. I'm not trying to be, Johnny Badass. I'm not trying to be a country superstar. I'm not. There's still, but that mixed to where I am now and the lessons that I've learned is everything that I want to be as a songwriter. And it took me to be all this time, in a way to like figure that out.
Yeah.
And it makes you mad.
Sure.
Because maybe I should have paid attention more, or maybe I should have read this book, or maybe I wish I would have. But all these things have to happen. These moments have to happen in order for you to figure it out.
100%. I think there's, they always say that a story never told is never really a story, right? And you wrote a story over this entire time. And I think what we have to pay attention to in that time, and you can't hold against yourself, is the day trading attention, which is what at the time was hot that everybody was leaning into at that time, no matter what anyway, right? So there's always going to be day trading attention that's happening in some aspects. Like everyone loved this artist at that time, so everyone wanted to be that artist at that time. And then everyone is loving this sound of music, so you want to be that sound of music. So it's not like a personal thing you probably chose, but the journey that you went on led you through all this stuff. Now, today you realize I just don't give a shit about
100%.
the day trading attention.
Oh, God,
what I care about is the music and what I am. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, I think that's that flip of like, it was the same for me in business. Everyone said, well, you're the guy that's on TV but I always loved the behind the scenes business side of things where it was at. But I never wanted to like post content about it or talk about like the business, right? Because I'm like, what are they going to say? They're going to judge me on this. And then one day I just said, fuck it. I really enjoy that. The minute that happened, I didn't really care. And then I just didn't care. And when I didn't care anymore, I just like, I felt like everything had lifted off my shoulders. And I'm sure it's the same as an artist. If you're trying to be somebody else, and then eventually you go, you know what? I'm just going to be myself. And I don't really care. When you don't, you have no expectations. So if you have no expectations, they're all good.
It really is. And it's fascinating, the amount of things that come at you in today's society.
Oh, we live in such a fast
we should
world.
try this. We should try this. Oh, look what these people are doing. Oh, look, what are they doing? And you're so consumed by that stuff.
Yeah.
I get super consumed by outside world stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The only reason why I moved to Nashville at all was because a friend of mine moved down there. And I was like, I can write those songs like Nashville guys.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going there for the right intentions at all.
But you had a hell of a run down there.
Oh,
You were Nashville Jesus.
Jesus?
You were Nashville Jesus down there. You had a hell of a run down there.
Really good run.
Honky tonkin'. I mean, you played them all. Tootsies. You were packing them in.
I was doing really
Rear Vive. There, the listening room.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We did all the research on you, dude.
Hear the phrasing on that?
Yeah.
It's a long way from Detroit Rock City, man.
It's a long way.
I'm not shouting. I'm not straining my throat. And I'm not almost ready to keel over from drinking too much whiskey to try to hit those notes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
To lube up the chords.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a lot of honky tonkin'. What's your favorite honky tonk down there? Like, what's your favorite place to play of all of them? Because you played them all, obviously.
Probably the little one that's out by where I used to live. I used to live in Madison, Tennessee, which was just north of Bradley Parkway, and it's outskirts. It's in East Nasty, they call it. Not East Nashville, East Nasty, because it's got a little grit to it. It's a little, but there's a place called, oh, geez, what's the name of the place?
This is like
Country, D's Country Cocktail Lounge.
Oh man, I've not been to that one. Now I got to go there.
Oh, it's just a little place that they've done a really good job with. Marcus King went and did a shot of video out of there.
Awesome.
A bunch of artists are getting hip to it, but it's away from this Broadway scene.
Yeah.
So it's a place to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can go in there and it's just a really neat place to play music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And they
a
got
cool
a great
joint.
sound system. Little juke joint. It's like a country juke joint. You're right. Yeah.
Just a really cool joint.
Yeah.
There's so much influence down there. I got to imagine, like, you see everybody trying to be whatever it is that's hot, and it's incredible to see the amount of artists. Like, I was down there not too long ago. I was down there for a convention, and I sat up top at, I think it was Tootsie's or something. I was sitting up on the roof, and I was watching, and there's people playing guitar, busking. There's another one over here busking. There's 3 guys walking into this, but they got their guitars. There's 5 coming out of that one. There's like, and I'm just looking at this music scene that's just, so when you're in it, I'm sure it's like, it's a buzz, like you're in it, but it's also probably a lot of work. Like, is it?
I wish I would have been younger when I moved there.
Yeah.
I was almost 40 when I moved there.
Okay.
30, late in the game.
Late.
And I was still trying to be a rock star. So my intentions I wasn't ready for it. Now I'm ready for it, but I'm 50.
Yeah.
And do I want to deal with being a fan of music and being a songwriter? What happens to me is, have you seen this new band? Hey man, let's go check them out tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super fan.
Yeah.
And I'm not even playing my own gigs.
You just like it.
You just like it. So next thing you know, you get wrapped up. So are you moving there to really hone in on your song, or are you going down there to have a good time and live that Nashville lifestyle, which is awesome?
Oh,
they got great hiking, they got great everything, and I could do that in a minute, but I don't know if I can sustain it anymore.
Yeah.
I think for me at this point in my life, I got pages of songs that I really truly believe in, and I want to record them.
Yeah.
You could go down there and get in a whirlwind, or you could work on recording them and put out your own records.
Do your own thing.
And you can still make money on licensing, and it's kind of coming to terms with, you're not going to be the big fish. You're not opening up for Luke Combs tomorrow. You're not going on tour, and that's the struggle is that that's not going to happen, and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But you can still write great tunes.
Yeah.
Pitch them down there. Who's to say? I mean, it's just like on Whiskey Beach. My buddy that played guitar on it is now playing with Luke Combs. He's the lead guitar player for Luke Combs.
Yeah.
And it's like you're that close down there.
Yeah.
So it's like a drug.
Yeah.
You're that close to making it, and you're rubbing elbows with these guys. But do you really want it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you? I don't know. I don't think I do anymore.
Yeah.
I think I want to just concentrate on writing great tunes, and kind of if the scenario was like, going back and writing songs for TV shows or anything like that, it's but that is a good life.
Oh,
and you're still playing music.
I think it was Sia, that girl, that said, after she bought her 4th house from writing, that she was like, writing bought me this 4th house. Like, she was writing songs for other Cardi B and all these other big artists, but like, you've got pages, and I'm sure it's a conscious thing where you're looking at it going, okay, if I'm at that point, and I would say never because it takes one right person to see it, hear it, and listen to it and go, I believe in it, and I'm going to make this happen. But I would also say, like, as you're thinking through that, like, God, you got so many amazing songs on paper. We were at camp, I don't know, last year. You came down to our Ohio farm.
Oh, yeah.
We were down in the basement.
That's
we were
right.
having some fun. And we were playing all the songs. Like, we were going back and we were having some fun with it. And I remember I played a song and you're like, who's this? I'm like,
oh, yeah.
It's like green grass side of the road. And you're like, who's this? I'm like, it's you. And you're like, I didn't even know I wrote this song, because there's so many tunes that have come out of you that are just, and I think that the way they're written, and the Greyhound to Georgia, I know you teamed up with that one a little bit. I mean, I can go on. Whiskey Don't Run Dry, Here's to You. We could just go on and on and on. These should be mass hits. I mean, it's just crazy.
You know what? That's where, let's just be honest, I'm the world's worst businessman. Yeah. There's nothing in me that wants to be the boss. There's nothing in me that wants to have bad conversations. Yeah. I'm the type of dude that just, it's just who I am, and I need to get better at that. Yeah. Because if I had half of an eighth, a 16th of some of the juju that you got, things would probably be different for me. And so it's only my fault. Yeah. So I don't blame anybody. And I know that. I'm my own worst enemy. But the thing is I do believe there are some songs. Yeah. There's a song I'm sitting on right now called Easy Come, Easy Go. I believe somebody could make that a hit song. Yeah. I can at 50. And you're right. Like I was just saying, if I had a business hat, and which I should at this point, and maybe that's something I need to think about as I'm sitting here on this podcast.
Yeah. See, we think about all the moments that matter, and I'm sitting here going,
"This is a moment that matters."
Well, I have a business hat, so let's.
But how do I get? And here's the thing: so most of these songs that I've written that I want to pitch, are written by me. Yeah. So when you think about that, that's the first thing that anybody's going to ask me is like, did you write these songs? Who else is on? Who else is on? They don't want to touch it if it's 15 people on it. Yeah. Maybe somebody would go, I won't name any names, but somebody that we know very well that's in the Nashville industry. Yep. What if I was to pitch that song to that person? Oh, I like it. But I'm not going to pitch it without my name on it. Oh, take it. There's nobody else but me. Yeah. We'll go 50-50.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Hey, you want to throw somebody else on there? We'll make it a three-way. Yeah. If somebody gets on board with the tune, tweak it however you want to tweak it. Yeah. Give me some of that mailbox money.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what it's about. I mean, writing and that skill set is not easy, man. And I think some of the stuff like today in current music, some of it is writing. You look at guys like Zach Bryan and like somebody like Tyler Childress, and it's the writing. Yeah. And because the way the songs are coming across, yes, they're performers, but I mean, Zach Bryan was he was like singing in a little stage exactly the same way that you were talking about how you got started, and he got an amazing break, and he got it in Yellowstone, like all the things, boom, 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 gone, and now he is who he is. But he's stayed true and humble to who he is, like. Drives a truck and puts his dog in it and drives across state to get to the concert and then sells out to 20,000 people. Yeah. But he's songwriting. I mean, you see him on Instagram and he's just singing his songs and he's writing and he plays 20 seconds of it and it creates a buzz and everyone goes, I want that song now. I want that song now. And then after he does it 10 times, he puts out a record with 10 songs on it, and everybody buys the record. It's an incredible way. I did not know
he was working that way. That's
it's incredible. He just puts out 20 seconds and 20 seconds, and just keeps doing it. And then he'll just throw out an audio file every now and then next thing you know, new record's released.
Good Lord!
And so there's so many ways I think today in social media and the current state of music is just. It's so different, and I don't know the music industry. I mean, they say the quintessential starving artist in the industry because the label takes all the stuff and all the crap that happens. But now, just with YouTube, and you see this people re-recording their own records, and you see people like just releasing their own shit. There's more distribution out there than ever before, but it's got to be just a completely crazy market. It's just saturated. It's hard to stand out through that, I would imagine.
Yeah. You go to Nashville, and the listeners down there are so amazing. And the one thing I learned as I moved back home to Michigan, and it's a very hard transition. And it's not just landmark or anything, but the hardest transition is like what you're saying. You're so accustomed to people sitting and listening to and wanting to hear your song. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear original music. Yeah. I mean, I could, any gig that I ever book, and I'm not calling anybody out. This is just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is in different markets. But like, they want to be entertained. Where's the cover song? I want to know
Where's Frank and the Jet Skis?
Where's Frank and the Jet Skis? Let's go. Yeah. And to be able to do your own thing. Yeah. And still, that's why I don't play that much anymore. I've done the cover thing. Yeah. It's just so hard to do. Yeah. To do it for the entertainment value of a song because it's so personal.
Yeah.
And then, but then there you go. You gotta somebody's got to beat me over the head and get me out of that little basement where I do my songwriting and say, come on out here into the light. It's more fun. There's people with smiles that want to hear some stuff, and let's go. Yeah. And so sooner or later, I need to make that happen.
Well, your music has changed lives. It has. I mean, I've had people come up and tell me, like just because it's in the show, but I'm like, it's not me. That's Brandon writing those songs and writing that stuff. Like, hey, I listened to this song and I connected with it. I take it with me when I go out in the wild, and I do. So your music has changed lives along the way, and I know it, especially for me too. I mean, I don't know if there's a song I don't know that we like on everything that's been recorded. I just have my Calhoun playlist, and and I'm lucky enough to know you. And every time we get together, I still want you to play. Speaking of cover songs, you know where I'm going to go with this next.
Oh, man.
There is one song that I asked you to play every single time, and there's so many fun stories around it. It's this one, if you remember this one. Let's see if we can get these guys to bring it up. Oh. I mean, come on.
See how quiet I got?
Yeah. You toned it down.
I'm like, don't mess this up, man.
It's. Oh, there you go.
Then
the little bit of here, that riff is.
You got to take it down.
You're getting dirty. You're getting down. You're loosening up the throat.
This might be a nice version that we should throw on the next one.
I think this song will be. If you guys like this song, let us know, because I think Brandon should release this song right here. Let us know. Write in the comments. Do something. Let us know. But I think Brandon Calhoun should release this song.
This is one of those songs where the stank, it works.
It works.
It works. I've been trying to clean it up for all these years, but then it's like for something like that, it's like, why?
It's unbelievable. It's the Jefferson theme song, if you don't know it. And you did it one time at one of our gatherings. It was like one of these. This is in the studio, and you sang it, and I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Remember when we did it? Where we did it? We did it in Pittsburgh.
Harrisburg.
Oh. And we went to the Daviest bar on planet Earth, and we
open mic night. We're there for the sports. We were there for like 2 weeks running the convention out there, the Harrisburg Sportsman Show, and you come out and visit. And we meet up, and I go, let's find an open mic bar or something. We find an open mic bar, but we didn't realize where we were going. It was on the East Nasty side of Harrisburg.
I think when we walked in there, we watched somebody like fall over off of a bar stool.
Yeah.
I think we almost witnessed a couple of fights.
Oh, yeah.
We had to kind of, we watched a lot of people wobbling around, and interesting characters.
We were the 4 most Midwestern human beings in that entire bar that night. And everybody, it was like the music stopped, everyone went, and just looked right at us.
They did.
And you got a guitar, and you're like, yeah, I'll play a song. And you got up there, and everybody's kind of just talking, and it's open mic night. Yeah. So they're kind of talking and doing their thing, and we just sit back and we go, this is going to be really interesting. And you came out with that, you just went, the fish don't fry. And when you did that, whole bar literally turned around. Those people rushed the stage.
That was a rush.
That was so fun. They rushed. They went nuts. Yeah. They were dancing, screaming, yelling, and then they made you do it again.
I had to do it again.
They had to do it again. They made you sing that song 2 times in a row.
And that song takes everything out of me. So doing number 2, I'm glad. Woo-wee. But it goes high. And but I do remember that guy coming up to me, and there was one guy in particular, like trying to get everybody riled up, coming over to these tables, like, he's got to play it again.
Yeah, he's got to do it again. He's got to do it again.
That stuff feels so good.
Oh,
that's the best feeling in the world. I think I was on a high for a week after that.
Oh, man, and that guy came up to us that owned the place. Remember, he walked over, he said, drinks on me, guys. And he's like, this is incredible. You guys are here. And it just went from we walked into the sketchiest, we didn't know what was going to happen, to music flipped the switch, and we were the most welcome people in the place, and we had such an amazing time with just an eclectic group of people.
Yes,
and we had
totally.
so much fun that night.
Yep.
You sang a bunch more songs, and then some guy got up there with like a flute after you or something. He was like,
Played some Jethro Tull
like
or
played some
something.
something. Was like, whoa, what do we got here?
Yeah.
I think that was when we were like, it's time to go. But gosh, that was like incredible. And that's when the Jeffersons, and I always come to you, and you're always like, no, I'm not doing it yet. I'm not doing it yet because it blows out my voice. I'm not doing it yet. I'm not doing it yet. And then like about 6, 7 more whiskeys in, I'm like, you gonna sing it? And you're like, damn you, I'll do it. And that night you opened with it.
This is where alcohol and me have just a confusing conflict because once I get that old Jack in me or whatever, the brown juice, as my buddy calls it,
Yeah.
I can go all night singing that song.
Yeah.
But I can't do it if I'm just having a
Yeah.
one, two-hearted.
Yeah.
You got to let's get juiced up and go.
Yeah. No, I do know for a fact. I know when the
Speaking of
juice,
brown juice.
I know when the brown juice is hit too much because that's when you forget the lyrics. That's the funniest part of everything is when we're sitting around singing and you're playing that song and then you go, what was the lyrics again in that one? Or what song am I singing? And I'm like, yeah, we're having a good time tonight.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's how I always know it's time for
You know, it's always funny to me is like back in the day, you guys would have a client come in or whatever, and you're like, yeah, Calhoun's going to be playing.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is you guys know how I am, and Christ, you guys would have your client hanging out with me before you even got there. You could be like, oh, we're at this function. We'll be there at 10.
Yeah.
Well, I'm partying with your client getting boozed. And then you get there and you're like, hey, play that song for us, Calhoun. Now I'm like, now? After your client just got me jacked?
There was a plan at the time. You know?
Yeah.
We knew
You
how
guys
to
needed to lock
coerce
me
you.
in a
Yeah,
room
we knew how to
until you
coerce
get-
you. Yes.
A lot of good
man,
times on that.
it's so funny. Man, thank you for coming in and just chatting with me and just spending some time and just like it's just so easy talking to you because I think there's just an incredible story from Beaverton and basketball all the way through reality series, songs, Nashville. You just have so many life experiences that you're lucky to have, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you really are. At the end of the day, when you get to do those things and you look back on it, there's a book in there somewhere of these stories that is just like they're mind-boggling, and I love hearing them. I love when you come and meet us up on different places and journeys, and I always see you working, whether it's in a tent in Kansas or a place in Ohio, and you're there and you're playing, and it's like you're working things out, and it's like it feels like it's therapeutic for you, and for us, we get the added bonus of having you there playing music, and it's just it's such an incredible thing, man, and just I really appreciate you coming on. I think to end everything up, if you were to sum it up, what's your BeAlive moment? Like we've mentioned a few, but like throughout your entire life lessons, I mean, you've opened for some incredible people. You've sold out their stadiums. Eddie Money.
Eddie was great.
Eddie Money, you've done a lot of stuff with him. I know. Didn't you just open for
we did a
Brad
gig,
Paisley or
Brad
something?
Paisley,
Yeah.
and a bunch of different artists out at the Temecula Balloon and Wine Festival.
Oh, that sounds
amazing.
fantastic for me. But I mean, you've had all these like that doesn't happen on a Tuesday to somebody.
But you
like
know,
those
it's
things.
weird. It's the people that you know.
Yeah.
Then I'm not the one that booked
Yeah.
me on that. I mean, it's just the people you know, and you're lucky enough to be around good people, and like yourself. I mean, this moment here matters to me, and to be part of your first podcast of BeAlive. I mean, it's amazing, and I can't thank you enough. And obviously, our time together has been very special to me, and we talk about moments matter and going back to those days. I mean, do you know how interesting that is for me to be doing like Detroit City and all that stuff, and then, you guys hired me to do acoustic music. Yeah. What a. I mean, I was up for the challenge, but like I had to take all this, bring it down, and I found a voice within that, and I loved that I found that voice, which changed my perspective on the future. So I mean. It's interesting how you helped me so much, and I have a whole catalog of songs written about your show. But at the same time, I have them for a lifetime to share with my parents and stuff like that. But I also, I guess what I mean is like, the trajectory I took off on after being around you guys.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. It's like that moment, that period of time was just a really big deal in my life, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, dude, it wasn't amazing. It was our honor. I think, like I said, we had an era. We had a run. I think it's time to run it back. I think we need more Calhoun around to BeAlive studio and around what we're doing, and putting more.
You inspire me so much.
You're putting things on stuff. I think it's time.
And the way you guys collectively, and I've said this 3 different times now, but I write, when you ask me how to write, I write in a hole.
Yeah.
And I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
And the only way to get out of that hole is to be around creative people. And I don't care if it means lighting people, your video people, your editing people. When you're around creativity, you step out and you just go, oh, light bulbs go off. Yeah. And I feel like I would love to come back up here and do this again, or just keep on writing. If you got, hey, send me any sort of like show. Let me write to it. At least give me something to write to, because everything else is just spinning around in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I enjoy that, and you give me that. And again, thank you and the whole team and JB and for even introducing me to you guys. So.
It's been a pleasure over the years, man. Your stories are just like, oh, God, we could sit around a campfire and drink whiskey and have fun and just tell stories all night long. And we've done that numerous amounts of time. And I think it's been incredible having you. So thank you again, guys. If you enjoyed it, Mr. Brandon Calhoun, we're so excited to have him. Give us a like, and you know what? Download his music. And if you're a songwriter out there and you need some more songs, get a hold of the man. He's got a whole tablet full of amazing songs, or a record studio.
They're spinning around. They need to go somewhere.
They need to go somewhere. If you're an artist looking for it, get a hold of him. But Cal Hizzle, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, my brother.